Week 1 of the NFL is over with, ladies and gentlemen. Had some weather delays. Had a really good game. Had a couple of good games. But we're gonna get into it. Victory Monday for one of us. Another one not so much, but we'll definitely get into it. But first, Brandon, how we doing, man?
Correct. You can just say it. It's not a victory Monday for me. Victory Tuesday. None of them. Other than that, I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, you're right. It's not Monday, it's Tuesday. Sorry about that.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm
Either
doing
way.
I'm doing good. It's that time of year where you either stressed or you happy, or you could be a little bit of both. But let's get into it, shall we?
Definitely. Let's take a look at the opening drive. Everyone, the Bucs have awarded cornerback Zion McCullum with a 3-year, $48 million extension. Zadarius Smith, he's signing a 1-year deal with the Eagles. Philadelphia also traded for running back Tank Bigsby from the Jags. Browns rookie second-round pick Quinshawn Judkins, he signed his contract. That's meaning, as you know, all NFL draft picks have been signed. Cam Hayward, he's agreed to a revised deal with the Steelers. Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams, JMO, he has a new 3-year deal worth up to $83 million. Matthew Stafford, he's become the 10th quarterback to surpass 10,000 passing yards. Derrick Henry, he's passed um, Jim Brown for 6th all-time in rushing touchdowns. Jabril Peppers, he's been bought on by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they lost to Sean Elliott on Sunday. 49ers tight end George Kittle, he's been placed on IR, and kicker Jake Moody was waived. Meanwhile, Eddie Pinero has been signed to handle the kicking duties, and Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter will lose his $57,222 Week 1 game check for spitting on Dak Prescott. Um, he will not be suspended, as the league says. Made up for it with the ejection. Any thoughts on this opening drive,
Yeah,
AJ?
I think Jalen Carter got off a little light. I would have suspended his ass another game. I could be biased. Well, I am biased since I'm a Commanders fan, but like we talked about, spitting on someone lowest of the low, you can talk about, oh well, Dak spit at him first. Dak was right. Dak was right here, and Jalen Carter might have been where you at in Maryland. I'm in California, everybody. That's the distance that pretty much was between them. If come on now, but um, good for Jabril Peppers to get another shot. And then you texted me about the Tank Bisbee trade with the Eagles. I'm like, you mentioned there's like they got more than 53 people on their roster and all the damn people got they chose as Darius Smith, as you mentioned before, and now Tank Bisbee. Like, God, damn, they get everybody, it seems like. So we'll see how it goes. Also, Quinshawn Judkins, the Browns rookie running back, getting signed now. That means all the draft picks are signed. So we'll see how that goes. If he, ends up being a lead back for the Browns, because Dylan Sampson looked all right. Jerome Ford looked okay, but we'll see how it goes.
Most definitely. Excuse me, everyone. I am a little bit under the weather, so if you see me grabbing the tissue, that's why. Turning our attention to Ed's game, Jaden Daniels, he's now 3-0 against the Giants in his young career. Washington opened the season with a 21-6 victory at Northwest Stadium. The floor is yours, Ed.
It was good and bad. I'm gonna start with the good. I thought that both lines, the defensive line and the offensive line, did pretty good. I think the defensive line, for the most part, dominated. They had, Russell Wilson in trouble early and often. They stopped the run game. Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Scatterbo. They didn't really do too much out there. They had a couple of good plays. I think the leading rusher was Russell Wilson. A little bit of concern for me, but other than that, D line did really good. O line also did well. For the most part, Jaden Daniels got protected. It was only like when he was, trying to make something happen, or a couple of times Brian Burns did get some. I think he was sacked 3 times. I can't remember if Brian Burns sacked him all 3 times, but I know he was sacked 3 times. But we were able to run the ball. For the most part, he had time in the pocket to make some passes and do his thing. And the running game was really good. Bill looks like the job is his. It's kind of surprised that Chris Rodriguez, one of the running backs, was a healthy scratch. Austin Eckler and Jerry McNichols were the other running backs. Salute to Austin Eckler, man. He was the basically the lead back. He had some really good runs. He had a couple of really nice catching runs. There was one run where he like spent off a defender and rushed for, I think it was like a second and long, a third and long play too, and it really helped momentum wise because I'm gonna get into the bad in a second. but it really helped us momentum wise, keeping the drive alive. And a good win against a divisional opponent in a conference as well. So I'm happy with that. Now let me get to a little bit of bad. First of all, it's still this is something that the Commanders, Washington, has done in the past, where we played to the level of competition. There were plenty of moments I thought we should have blew this game wide open, but something dumb would happen. Dumb penalties, which we had 12 of, by the way. Did not like that at all. We got to clean that up, especially against the opponent we got in this short week, the Packers. We got to clean that up. Didn't like that at all. Jaden Daniels, even though his numbers are great, he was off in my opinion. Some throws were behind receivers. He wasn't hitting them in stride. They had to readjust to the ball, and they couldn't catch it and go on the run. They had to readjust, catch it, and fall to the ground because the defender was right on it. So hopefully he cleans that up. I think him only having like basically one series in preseason, he was a little rusty. So hopefully these next few weeks he's back and he's smoking and more accurate the ball. Because some of those passes, I mean, they weren't. I think there was one with my boy Scary Terry McCormick. They didn't connect on a deep ball where if he would have caught it, probably would have been a touchdown. So I know since Terry was on his hold in, their chemistry isn't right there yet. I think a couple more weeks they'll be back on track because we saw him and Debo pretty much had a nice connection. But again, work on those passes, work on that accuracy, hitting guys in stride because Zach Ertz, there was a play early in the game where he had to basically turn around and catch the ball and he dropped it. That kind of killed the drive. So little things like that where we're playing to the level of competition. The penalties did not like it at all. And, Jaden Daniels just being a little more tight with it, being a little bit more accurate with his passes. Other than that, I was pretty satisfied with that. I thought Malik Neighbors was going to go crazy on us. For the most part, we held him in check. He did have some spectacular catches, but like we both said, he's a really good boarding on great wide receiver, and we'll see what happens. Only thing that I'm kind of wondering about is I said that the defensive line dominated. I'm kind of wondering, is that because the offensive line stinks of the Giants, or is that more to come for the Commanders in that defensive line with Javon Kinlaw and Daron Payne out there, and then Eddie Goldman coming in as a rotational piece. So we'll see how that looks going forward. The linebackers, I'm still, a couple plays, Frankie Louvu pissed me off. No comment on Bobby Wagner. Brandon, you know how I feel about Bobby Wagner. No comment on him. You do your thing out there, Bobby Wagner. No comment on you. But hopefully the linebackers play a little bit more. Before I get into any of that, Brandon, what were your thoughts on the game, though?
Yeah, nothing fancy, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Just good old New York Giants football. 4 for 6 on third down, 3.7 yards per play. O-line sucked. To answer your question, Ed, it wasn't your defensive line just yet. And then piss poor tackling. Ed hit on everything, Commander, so I'm going Giants, y'all. And then twice, technically 3 times, they were down inside the Commander 10-yard line. Ed's defensive lineman, I believe he is wise. He got the Commander penalty for illegal use of the hands to the face. Ended up on the 1-yard line, set the Giants up. They could not get a yard, okay? In fact, they lost a yard. And then you go to the fourth quarter, okay? Same thing. 4 straight incompletions at the Washington 3-yard line. Can't forget about that Brian Daboll, Malik Neighbors sideline exchange. He was a little fed up. I believe that was in the first half.
Yeah.
Daboll then tried to, show off in front of the cameras, try to dap him up. And
Yeah, come on, Malik. You can't carry your coach like that now. Come on, man.
Neighbors just ignored the hell out of him. So, yeah, as usual, the Giants still have major issues. 3 straight season openers without a touchdown. It's the first team since the 1940s to do that, long before you and I were born, and we could basically double our age. I mean, that's how long ago it was. Only hope is that they could run the ball next week at Dallas, because Dallas run defense didn't show any signs of improvement week 1, but I'm still not counting things, any type of progress for the Giants so far based on week 1. Good win, Washington.
Yeah, it's a good win. Just real quick, I want to get into the Thursday night game, Commanders and the Packers. I'm worried about every game we play, but I'm especially worried about this one. You know, Micah Parsons, he plays well against the Commanders, and Josh Connerly, um, he struggled a little bit going against Brian Burns and that D line. So I want to see how he looks out there. I know Micah Parsons moves around a lot, but I see them putting Michael on Josh Connerly and try to disrupt Jaden Daniels with whatever he does because his motor looked pretty good. I know he didn't play every snap, but I'm sure he'll get a little bit more snaps going to this coming up week. So really worried about that. And the defense, hopefully we can stop Josh Jacobs. I think Tyrone Tracy is a decent back, but Josh Jacobs is one of those guys. So if we can stop him, I like our chances more against Green Bay. But you know, Jordan Love, I think, is at this point of his career way better than Russell Wilson. No offense to Russell Wilson, but if we can stop that run and contain Jordan Love, because I think he'll get out the pocket and scramble a little bit too, we'll be okay. But at the same time, I'm worried about the defense of the Packers because they pretty much shut down the Lions, which is very surprising to me. That could be just because of the coordinator changes and stuff like that. They got to get used to the new system that they're playing. The Lions, I mean, but I'm worried about the Packers. I'm not going to lie. I could definitely see things going sideways, especially if Jaden Daniels isn't accurate with the ball, kind of like he was against the Giants. If we play to the level of the Giants, hopefully we can play to the level of the Packers and make some things happen. But I'm not too confident right now. I'm gonna be honest with you, but hopefully we win that though. But we'll see what happens. We will see. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about. Oh, sorry. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just real quick. Christian Watson just got a 1 year extension worth $13.25 million, and yeah, I would be a little concerned with the Packers defense, as you mentioned, 4 sacks, an interception. They were all over Jared Goff in that game.
Yeah,
Run game, as you mentioned, Josh Jacobs, he's a whole lot better than Tyrone Tracy on a whole different level, in my opinion. I think he was top 5 in rushing last year, and they really didn't even get the run game going um, in this game on Sunday. You know, they didn't really have to because the defense was dominating so much. They were setting the ball up, getting great field position for the Packers offense. So, yeah, y'all definitely will have your hands full. It does favor the home team on these short games, but it should be a good one though. As you know, I've said this many times. You got a guy like Jaden Daniels who always got a chance to win.
yeah. And they got a pretty good tight end too, Tucker Craft.
Yeah.
Theo Johnson of the Giants, he dropped a couple of passes for the Giants. I don't think we'll have that much luck with Tucker Craft dropping passes either. So defense, y'all got to be tight, man. The linebackers, Lord help us. All right, let's get into an NFC South matchup. Went down to the wire. Bucs beating the Falcons 23-20. We were texting a little bit about this game. You said something very interesting about this game as well. But Brandon, what were your thoughts on the Bucs and the Falcons game?
Yeah, man. So when we previewed the NFC South, I forgot that Godwin was going to miss some time for the opening weeks of Tampa Bay. He's still trying to get back from an injury from last year. But I did mention Amika Ibuka, and I think his G is silent in his last name. He wouldn't have any pressure as a first-round pick because he has those veteran receivers, Mike Evans and Godwin there. But on Sunday, the rookie was the bright point for the Bucs offense. He had 2 monster catches, proved to be the difference for the Bucs at the end. Of course, the field goal as well. Um, but a point, we got to talk about a few more times this year, especially on their second matchup in Tampa Bay. You had the missed extra point by Chase McLaughlin, nearly led to overtime, and then the potential game-winning field goal attempt by Younghoe Koo inside 10 seconds of regulation. I think that hit the left uprights, and I always think of Ed when the ball hits that upright. Of his couple years ago, the first couple weeks, all he kept saying was doink, doink, doink. That's what I thought about in that one. Atlanta wins a lot of close games at home because of the right leg of Younghoe Koo, and nobody's perfect, but he kind of let them down. I was kind of thinking Atlanta was going to take it. Was a little bit nervous because I definitely was confident with the Bucs heading into this one, and I didn't even realize or remember that Atlanta had swept Tampa Bay last year, so it was kind of interesting. They did kind of get right, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was the 5th straight opening win for Tampa Bay on opening weekend, week 1. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting when you texted me like Baker Mayfield was the leading Russian for the Bucs, and that Bijan Robinson was the leading receiver for the Falcons. That was pretty funny. Uh, I mean, kind of a defensive battle if you really think about it. Neither team could get the run game going. Um, Kyle Pitts, we had a sighting from him. He had 7 catches for 59 yards for the Falcons. I think going forward, I think the Falcons are happy with how Michael Penix played, especially late in the game. He drove them down the field, made good plays. He even had a nice play where he made something happen towards the end of the game where he was scrambling. I think it was a fourth down too, might have been third down, but it was in a red zone. He scrambled, dove at the goal line, and at first it looked like he didn't make it, but then the refs, I think they overturned a call and they gave him that goal to go. So overall, man, tough loss for the Falcons. But like you mentioned, this rookie from Ohio State, Emeka Abuka, because there was 2 receivers out. Remember, Jalen McMillan, I believe his name is, for the Bucs. He got injured in preseason, so he's out at least a few weeks too. So it's basically Mike Evans, Emeka Abuka, and they got their tight end too. But Baker Mayfield, you look at his stats. He only for these teams, it was the Falcons were winning, then the Bucs came and Baker threw that ball. I want to say it was a deep pass. It wasn't at the 50-yard line, but it was close to it. That second touchdown to Emeka, where that gave them the lead, and then they missed the extra point. And then the next drive could have been a game time drive, or at least game winning, but they weren't able to get to the end zone for a touchdown, so they had to settle for a field goal. Just unfortunate, my boy Younghoe Koo missed that field goal. And I had a feeling. I was like, I don't know. They called a timeout to freeze him, which is smart of the Bucs to do. And I was just thinking, it's like, I don't know, man, but we'll see what happens. And he missed it, went wide right. You sent me that video. You sent me that video of that man going to the Chinese buffet looking for her. I was like, oh my god. I felt so bad for Koo. I was just like, oh my goodness, man. But I think these 2 teams are definitely going to be fighting for first and second place. Really good battle. I think the next time they play each other, it'll be the same type of battle, very close game. Uh, we'll see if these teams can run the ball a little better. It's week 1, so it's not written in stone yet. Everyone, there's definitely room for improvement for both teams going forward. But yeah, man, salute to the Bucs. It was a really good game. I wish it went to overtime, but the Bucs got the job done. Special teams, got to make those kicks, man.
For sure. All right. Turning the page, everyone. Gerard Mayo, he won his coaching debut as the as the Patriots head coach a year ago. Yeah, I said it. I bought it back up. Mike Vrabel, he's off to an 0-1 start after the Raiders traveled across country and won at Gillette Stadium. Ed, tell us what happened.
A lot of hype going into this game for Drake May. A lot of hype into the preseason saying, he's going to take a step forward. Mike Vrabel is a new coach now. They're going to make things happen. Game's pretty ugly. Rainy game out there. So, you look at Drake May's numbers, threw the ball 46 times, 287 yards. But honestly, he wasn't that great out there. He threw an interception. He ran the ball a little bit, but the Patriots could not get the run game going. The rookie running back, Trevion Henderson, he only had 27 yards rushing. They couldn't really get much going. I don't think, besides the touchdown they had, I think it was to Demario Douglas, I believe his name is. But you look at his stats, besides that touchdown, he had like negative yards receiving. So they really couldn't get much going. But Geno Smith, he threw a party on the Patriots. He did his thing out there. Ashton Genty, even though he didn't really do too much, he was able to get a touchdown, running touchdown. So salute to him for that. Brock Bowers did his thing out there as well. Now he did get injured. He left the game, I think, a little late into the game. I think it was a knee injury. I'm not sure it's bad enough where he'll miss next week, but he definitely didn't finish his game if I'm not mistaken. But overall, good win for the Raiders. It would have been ugly if they lost, in my opinion. The hype for the Patriots would have, skyrocketed, kind of like it did last year. They started 2-0 last year before it went off the rails. Now, I will say the Patriots were without Christian Gonzalez. Mentioned that in the preview. But so we'll see, how he looks, how the Patriots look when he gets back out there. But good win for the Raiders. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on this because like we both said, we hope the Patriots stink this year, just how they did my man Gerard Mayo. So I was happy the Raiders won. I was rooting for the Raiders in this one. Pete Carroll, oldest coach in the league. One of the debuts of a head coach who was able to get a win. There's only like a couple other guys to do that. He was one of them. Brandon, what did you think of this game, sir?
Yeah, so many people, including myself, thought Las Vegas only had a shot if they could run the ball, but I was wrong. Chip Kelly and Geno Smith aired this ball out against this dollar sign defense, as I call it. They signed a lot of guys in the offseason thinking they was going to fix it. 362 yards. Most of them went to the all-world tight end, um, Brock Bowers, and Jacoby Myers, a man that requested a trade. He really stepped up, 97 yards passing there for the Raiders offense. Geno, he did have that one interception, but other than that, I think the Raiders protect the ball pretty well in the clement weather out there. Traveling coast to coast is not easy. Um, New England, they also struggle to run the ball, as you mentioned, Ed. Offensive line wasn't much better either. 4 sacks on Drake May. Drake May, in his first game as a sophomore, new offensive coordinator. I say it every year. It's never good switching offensive coordinators. Of course, it can't always help it, but that for those quarterbacks going from rookie year to second year, it's not good. New England, though, they kept it close in the first half. They was up 10-7 at the intermission. Las Vegas flipped the script in the second half, ended up outscoring them 13-3. Great win for the Raiders. They often struggle in week one. They're always usually a team that's winless heading into week 2 or week 3. Um, New England, though, they travel to Miami next week. They're historically good down there, so we'll see how that one pans out. Both of those teams are 0-1, but as for now, the Raiders 1-0. Kind of hard to say, but they are.
Yeah, let's see what happens. That AFC West might be wide open.
Yep.
Titans Broncos game was kind of surprising way it went, but yeah. All right, let's talk about the AFC matchup: Steelers and the Jets. Steelers beat the Jets 34-32. This is a back and forth game. Aaron Rodgers playing against his old team, the Jets, and Justin Fields playing against his old team, the Steelers. Honestly, I thought this was Justin Fields, one of his best games as a professional, man. He was out there throwing dimes to Garrett Wilson. Those two reconnected from when they were at Ohio State and didn't leave off from where they left off, man. Um, he was running the ball. Brees Hall was running the ball well. They were doing his thing. It was a back and forth game. I think honestly thought the Jets were going to win this game at one point because they had a good lead. And then just like things started to happen. Steelers, I think you texted me this too. Like Steelers scored like back-to-back touchdowns in like seconds. They had I think that the turning point in the game was when they had that kickoff return. Player on the Jets fumbled the ball and the Steelers recovered, and they were able to score off of that again. Aaron Rodgers kind of turned back the clock. 4 touchdowns. DK Metcalf was able to do his thing out there. The running game, I was kind of surprised with of the Steelers and the Steelers defense. I thought, Justin Fields was going to have a tough day out there, but he definitely played motivated and wanted to show the Steelers what they gave up. And if it wasn't for that one turnover, he probably would have had a good chance of winning this game. But I got to shout out Jalen Ramsey. He definitely had to play at the end of the game where, to me, it was old school football. Put his body into Garrett Wilson because they were both yapping back and forth the whole game. And then, Jalen Ramsey shut the book and ended the game with that tackle he had, jarred the ball loose on Garrett Wilson. I know the Steelers sideline was hyped when they saw that play happen. I could see players going crazy. One guy took his helmet off, was about to slam it on the ground. He was so hyped and happy for Jalen Ramsey. So the veterans who came in, the free agents, basically won the game for the Steelers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, those guys make game-winning plays. So salute to them. Going forward, though, I'm not sure how the Steelers are going to look out there. That defense, they definitely got some work to do. That running game, Brees Hall was running all over them. He was running a marathon on the Steelers, man. So going forward, got to see how the Steelers look. But, a win is a win. They got the job done. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns. I said he's going to win comeback player. He keeps performing like that. I think he has a good chance of winning that, especially if they, make some noise getting to the playoffs. So good win for the Steelers. Definitely going to be paying attention to them going forward. And the Jets, I think, even though they lost, if Justin Fields can continue to play like that, maybe they can finish second in the AFC East. I don't think they'll, get over the Bills, but definitely can make something happen for sure. So we'll see how that looks going forward. But definitely entertaining game, one of the best games of the weekend. Brandon, what were your thoughts on this game?
You picked Aaron Rodgers to be your comeback player?
I thought so.
I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say I did.
Gotcha. Okay. I was wrong, y'all. I thought this game was going to be low scoring, kind of grinded out type of game, a
Me too.
defensive game. Man, it was nothing but that. Clearly one of the highest scoring games of the weekends, combined 66 points there. The scoreboard just kept going up, going up, going up. And I was just like, wow. Aaron Rodgers, after the game, he said that he wanted to beat anybody associated with the Jets. And shout out to Ed for calling him old. And he showed up and showed out. 22 for 30, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think the momentum swing, Ed mentioned part of it, was in the fourth quarter. They went on a 9-play, 68-yard drive. Rodgers hit Jalen Warren out in the flat for a touchdown. Jets fumbled the ensuing kickoff. Pittsburgh and Rodgers, they struck again. They had a short field. This time it was the Calvin Austin, 2 touchdowns, as you mentioned, in a matter of seconds. Jets responded, but they didn't have enough to pull it out there at home. Not gonna lie, Pittsburgh's run defense is still a problem. Okay, 182 yards on the ground against the Jets. That was probably the worst in the league. One of the worst teams at rushing the ball last year. It was so bad. Remember when they signed Devontae Adams? There was people on ESPN, NFL Network, saying, "Oh, this is the missing piece of the puzzle." And you and I got on here and said they still can't run the ball. So, yeah, Pittsburgh defense, and then as you mentioned, Justin Fields looked really good. Uh, they had him. Pittsburgh defense had him looking pretty good out there. He looked pretty confident. He was making some good throws. And the Steelers on the other side of the ball, they also had some problems with their offensive line as well. Aaron Rodgers was taken down 4 times. So I'm not going to crown the Pittsburgh Steelers just yet. We'll see how they go. They got the win. That's all that matters the most. But got to give credit where credit's due. They fought it out, snapped that regular season losing streak that they had. I think they had 4 or 5 down the stretch last year in the regular season. So it was good for them to get back in the win column. Start the season off on a high note. I think they're second place in the AFC North because the Bengals beat a divisional opponent, so they are tops in the AFC North right now. Good win for the Steelers, all in all.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, definitely game of the week in my opinion. I said Ravens beat the Bills. Lord, let me change that. The Bills beat the Ravens 41-40. Brandon, me and you were texting a little bit during this game. Everything was going well till that fourth quarter happened. Please give me your thoughts, man.
First of all, credit given to the Buffalo Bills. They fought back, won the game. A lot of those fans were leaving out of there, and they made a hell of a comeback there in the fourth quarter. Got to give it to them. Be one of the. We'll look back on this game into the season years from now and say, okay, yeah, that was one of the better games of 2025 for sure. But right now on your screen, and shortly it's going to be you're going to see Billy Carrington. He's a country music star. He has a song, "It Don't Hurt Like It Used to." That's how I feel right now. I don't even like Ed text me Sunday night after the game. You don't even get mad anymore. You're just kind of disappointed. We've seen this story so many times. We're used to this. Phenomenal 3 quarters of play as a Ravens fan, and then the fourth quarter where we look like a team like the Raiders, the Bears, the Titans, and I'm not talking about definitely not the Raiders from the other day, but from years past where they just can't win. The Chargers, Brandon Staley, they can never close out games with him as head coach. It's the same thing. Throughout the game, though, we found ways to give this game up for real. Starks missed the interception on the Bills' opening drive. Matabike, he had a neutral zone infraction on the next play. It set up the Bills for first and goal. The Bills' final possession before the half, they went 4 plays, 48 yards, 31 seconds, including that toe drag swag to Dalton Kincaid there on the sideline for 22 yards. Left a second on the board. Remember, all the Ravens were headed to the locker room. They called us back out. Matt Prater hit that 43-yard field goal to the third quarter. After the Flowers touchdown, Tyler Loop, he didn't get the ball in the landing zone. It set up the Buffalo offense on the 40-yard line. You cannot give Josh Allen any type of advantage, um, field position advantage, anything. Later resulted in, later in the drive, Jair Alexander, he got a PI setting up first and goal. The Cook, the running back,
James Cook.
thank you. James Cook, he went in for a touchdown right after that. Fourth quarter, Trenton Simpson on the punt. The ball was, to me, it didn't look like it was going to go in the end zone. He goes and dives to try to keep the ball
Yeah.
out of the end zone, and they called a touchback. Went from inside the 1 yard line, having them backed up literally to what, the 25-yard line. It makes a difference, man. Shout out to Sarah Ellison. She's one of the Ravens beat writers. I watch her podcast a lot on every day at noon. Tyler Loop, he missed the extra point. It's a whole lot more, y'all. Yeah, missed the extra point after the Ravens' final touchdown. Josh Allen, he threw up the desperation pass that was tipped and caught at the end zone. For a score on fourth down. Derrick Henry, of course, he fumbled. It was in Bills territory. Hold on, I've lost something. Okay, John Harbaugh, he opted not to go for it on fourth down. Lamar Jackson said after the game he was cramping up. Jair Alexander, man, that last drive, he looked old and confused. Okay, and then Kyle Hamilton, he barely missed that field goal block there at the end. That, of course, would have sealed the game for us. And then after the game, speaking of Kyle Hamilton, he said, quote, "We talked about it all off season, how we struggled last season at the beginning. Then we said it's a new year, it's a new team. And then we come out here and do that. We are saying something different, but we are doing the same things." And that's kind of what Marlon Humphrey said week 2 after the Raiders last year. And it kind of flipped the script after that. It took us a little while. They're saying, like most of the people talk about, it was like week 11 when we got things right last season, but it's a strong statement from the leader of the defense, the man, the man that just got paid early this off season. So we'll see how it goes. The Bills, they're the first team in league history to come back from 15 plus points within the final 4 minutes and win in regulation without going to overtime. John Harbaugh, man, the first time probably since he's been there, what, year 16, 17, something like that, where I said after that game, probably within an hour after that game, I said it might be time to part ways. And then I came to my consensus. I got my sleep, and I said no, because we're not like the teams that I mentioned earlier with high turnover, the Browns, the Raiders, the Titans, teams like them, even the Jaguars over the years that constantly have a revolving door head coach. So I'm going to go from bad to good. LJ, another monster game. Derrick Henry, it was like every hole was opening up for him in the first half, running buck wild. I think he had, I don't have it in front of me. It was well over 100 yards in the first half. Zay Flowers, he was lights out. The D-Hop catch there where he scored was, in my opinion, the best catch that I've seen live, because I didn't see the Justin Jefferson catch a couple years ago, and I think somebody else had a good catch in that game. I want to say it was Stephon Diggs. It was Bills Vikings. They both had one hand catch, if I'm not mistaken.
Odell had a pretty good
Odell had an awesome catch years ago. I didn't see those live, but I saw this one live. Man, and it's funny because like going into the season, I was like, man, I don't think he's going to get the ball that much because we just got so many playmakers. But he is a touchdown machine. He can make those type of circus throws. But we've got a lot to improve on before we host Cleveland on Sunday. I got a video as well. Daniel Falele. I want you to watch this play. He's number 77, the right guard. If y'all didn't know, he misses the block. Plays ring around the rosy. Looks absolutely confused.
Oh, I saw that.
Don't know what the hell is going on. Like, I understand it's hard blocking for LJ because he's all over the place. He's making guys miss. He's going left. He's going right. He's going north. Hopefully not going south. But it is hard blocking for him. But he is just. Last year he started the season like this too, and he got better as the season went on. He's just too big to be a right guard, in my opinion. He's just tall. He's just too tall. Most guards you have, they're shorter than the right tackle, and he is way bigger and taller um than the right tackle, and he's just getting beat on the inside. He's just like I say, he just looks confused. Another thing we need to prove on special teams coverage, that was a mess Monday night. Like we were setting the Bills up several times with very good field position on kicks because we didn't punt until I think it was third quarter. So with all those kickoffs, man, it was one play Tyler Loop had to make the damn tackle on the sideline. It's like, okay, we cannot have our kicker out here making tackles. Like we just got the guy, we just drafted him. Okay, we need him. Justin Tucker's not coming back. Linebackers, Roquan Smith, he lost a step. I said it last year. Trenton Simpson, he made bonehead play on special teams. He wasn't playing the best coverage out there. Secondary under pressure. The fourth quarter, as I mentioned, Jair Alexander just looked old and confused out there, especially on that one play. I think it was to
I think it was Keon.
I can't remember, but y'all know the play I'm talking about. And they were picking on Nate Wiggins pretty much all the fourth quarter, a guy who had excellent coverage last year as a rookie. So we'll see how he goes in week 2. And then the pass rush, man, it was pretty
Yeah,
much non-existent. Had 1 sack for 5 yards, 3 quarterback hits. Josh Allen had all day to go east and west. As I mentioned in the preview, when he can go left and right on the move, he don't even have to stop. He could just make those throws. And he made several of them Sunday night. So these games against AFC opponents, they are must wins for us. Uh, I'm not surprised that we lost, even though I picked us, because going into the season, I said that Kansas City and Buffalo are going to be the toughest out of the first stretch. The first quarter of the season, Kansas City, home for Cleveland, home for Detroit, at sorry, Buffalo, home for Cleveland, home for Detroit, at Kansas City. I kind of figured weeks 1 and 4 we're gonna lose, but those two are the most hurtful as well. You want to win games against your division. You want to win games, obviously in general, but those AFC standings come back at the end of the year for playoff seeding. I predicted Buffalo would be number 1 seed, but this is going to come back and haunt us for real. Those you cannot lose those games to conference opponents. They're honestly, in my opinion, they're worse than losing to the division because you can beat other teams around and still get enough record to get at least in the dance. But you want to be a division winner. You want to be top, one of the top seeds, and this this loss to Buffalo is definitely going to be felt for sure. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna say this, man. It's one thing for certain, two things for sure. It's week 1, so it's not set in stone. Y'all defense should improve, and then you're playing against Josh Allen, reigning MVP. He can do that against pretty much everybody. Where I think the fourth quarter alone, he threw for 250 yards. They had the 3 scores, or basically they were down 15. I think they scored 22 points in that fourth quarter. He can go off like that against anybody, in my opinion. So I know the Ravens defense is, on paper, expected to be top 3 type defense. I'm sure by the end of the season they can have the potential to do that. So, you know, things like that with Josh Allen is going to happen. And the same thing with Lamar, you guys. I'm sure when he said he was crapping, I was like, okay, I get it. Because at 4th and 3, I'm thinking, you know what, you guys got to go for it. Because at this point, at this time of the game, whoever gets the ball last is going to win. It's like that type of game right now. The defenses on both sides were not, doing what they needed to do to stop them. I'm surprised he didn't mention Todd Monken, man, because his play calling at the end of the game was kind of head scratching me. The first half, things were flowing. The option plays him and Lamar have where, he'll fake it like he gives it to Derrick Henry, then he takes off, frees the defender who, has to contain somebody. They can't do it. Zay Flowers, career high, 143 yards. He was out there waving at the Bills, like, yeah, man, I'm black. I'm playing right now. I'm back. I'm playing right now. That last drive y'all had where y'all basically went like 3 and out or y'all didn't do anything, I was really surprised with the play calling. You got something? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll tell you about that last drive. I think we're talking about the same one, and I forgot it a second ago. It was I formation play to Derrick Henry left side for 1 yard. The Flowers jet sweep, no game,
That one, I
and
was like,
then
hell.
the crosser to D Hop for 7 yards. But the thing that threw it off was that LJ went up to the Hopkins before the play, so everybody knew the ball was going to D Hop. And again, I never played football, but that's clear as day. Okay, when you go up to somebody, unless you like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or somebody, sometimes Patrick Mahomes, they'll do that and disguise them. Most other guys do it, and they're throwing to that guy that they go up to. So, and we also had a situation like that a couple years ago when we was going for a 2-point play. They called timeout. Nobody went to the sideline except for LJ and Mark Andrews. They went to Mark Andrews on the play. The whole defense knew they was going to Mark Andrews, and he ended up dropping it, or they blew up the play, the opposing defense. So when you do something like that, it exposes the play that you're going to run. So yeah, I think that's the same play we're talking about. And of course, fourth down was the punt.
Yeah, man. I was just like this play calling, especially that sweep you talking about with the Zay Flower. I was like, because I think that either lost the yards or was no gain. I was like, what the
Okay,
hell?
yep.
What are y'all? You think y'all gonna get him with that at this point, man? Top month, you got to be more creative, man. Do something that maybe y'all, all the plays you had, you got to run something. I just didn't. I was disappointed with the play calling at the end, and I really wanted y'all to go for it. But when Lamar said, I was cramping, so I really couldn't do it, I understood that. I think it's better y'all lost this game now than later, in my opinion. You
Yep.
got a lot of stuff you can work on. The main thing that I agree with you was that pass rush. Josh Allen dropping back at least 46 times on throws. He dropped back more because he had 13 carries or 14 carries. A lot of those weren't designed runs. It was him scrabbling, making things happen. But if he's dropping back, 50 some times, y'all got to get after him, man. Y'all need to, put some pressure on him because I think they were starting to, move the ball really fast, tiring that defensive line out, couldn't make things happen. Going forward, somebody's going to have to step up, make some plays, or y'all going to have to dial up more pressure going forward. But yeah, man, you talk about Jair Alexander. I think we texted about. I was like, damn, because that one play, he just got beat bad. I think he either blew the coverage, or I hope he blew the coverage because he was shaking his head while the play was still going. Like, oh God, I'm like, yo, come on now. You were meant to be addition. I was seeing videos of Kyle Hammond coming up to you, giving you props like, yo, man, he was joking. I used to watch you when I was in third grade saying like he old and stuff. Well, like you said, he looked really old out there. So come on, Jair, man. You're a veteran out there. Is when it's times like that, you're supposed to be the guy that makes a play. So I was kind of concerned with that. Hopefully going forward that gets cleaned up. I think the second year guy, Nate Wiggins, he'll be all right. Like I said, I think it's better y'all lost a game like this now than later. But it is kind of like what has happened before has happened again. I don't want to say the Ravens are going to Raven, but it always seems to be the case where a big game like this happens and y'all find a way to lose a game. Either y'all blow a lead or heartbreak type stuff happens. That Derrick Henry fumble. Once that happened, I was like, The score was they cut it to 8. I said, I don't like the way this is going. And what happened. And then Tyler Loop, I know it was just a PAT that he missed, but I really hope that doesn't shake his confidence. Next week, whenever they play again, please make all your kicks. And that's another thing going forward. It was a bad day for a lot of kickers. Like you talked about the opening drive, the Niners kicker, he got a wave. The Browns kicker, they could have won that game, but he missed a couple of kicks. The Browns kickers, so Tyler Loop, come on now, get it together. I know you're rookie, but hey, you're replacing basically he's going to be a Ravens Hall of Famer. The stuff he got into it, he might take him a while to get in the Hall of Fame if he gets there. But come on now, you got to get it together, man. But yeah, man, like I said, it is Josh Allen. He's going to do this to a couple more teams. He's going to break some more hearts, but definitely that pass rush that needs to improve. I think y'all get that pass rush down. That's going to help the whole defense. So yeah, we'll see what happens going forward. But overall, this game was incredible. That D Hop catch made me jump out of my seat. I said, "Wow!" when I saw that catch. I think we texted about that catch too. That was crazy. And then also that fan who pushed D Hop and Lamar Jackson. I hope nothing happens to Lamar. I was happy to see Lamar push him back, snap his damn head back in his seat. I wish he would have dragged him out the stands and stomped his punk ass out. To be honest with you, I hate when fans do stuff like that, professional players. Don't be putting your hands on nobody, man. or you're gonna have to suffer the consequences for real. Did not like that at all. They said he's been banned from NFL stadiums. I think as a lifetime ban. That's definitely deserved. But I won't be surprised if he tries to sue the NFL or sue Lamar Jackson for physical and emotional distress. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But yeah, overall, great game. This might have been game of the season, man. Honestly, but we'll see how it's going forward the rest of the season. Way to kick off NFL Week 1 for sure, though.
Two more quick points to what you said. Like you said, it is week 1. We had the game like this last year. Early on, it was against the Raiders. So it is, as crazy as it sounds, it is encouraging that it was against a guy like Josh Allen and the Bills that are probably a Super Bowl pick for many people. And number 2, I did text you the other day, and I forgot to mention, like you said, Todd Monken, he is a bad play caller when you need him to be good. And I'll leave it at that.
I was like,
All
huh?
right.
What you doing?
Yeah. All right, everyone. Time for some player awards. Offensive ace of the week. Who you got, Ed?
We just talked about this team. I got to give it to Josh Allen, man. 394 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. I think he had another 2 touchdowns running the ball. Last year I thought he got, a sympathy MVP, but he came out this year and definitely put up real MVP type numbers. So I got to give it to Josh Allen as my offensive player of the week. How about you, sir? Who you got?
Well deserved. No lie. Well deserved. All right. I wish I had his jersey though. For this one, Justin. Just in time, Herbert. 25 for 34, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries for 32 yards, including a big run to seal the victory. I remember I was texting you during this game. I fell asleep. I was sleepy as sleepy could be. And when I woke up and saw that the Chargers had won, man, I was so happy. What a way to break that 7-game losing streak for the Chargers against the Chiefs. And then they have the Eagles next week. Hopefully the Eagles can make them 0-2. Go Birds next week. Defender of the week, who you got?
I'm gonna give it to a Jaguars player, actually. Linebacker. Hope I say your name right, sir. Foyosade Olokun. 1 interception, 6 solo tackles, 4 assisted tackles, and a pass deflection. They dominated the Panthers pretty much, and I want to give a shout out to the Jaguars. We don't really, shine too much light on them, especially the last couple of years, but they definitely got off to a good start. So my defensive player of the week is Foyosade Olokun of the linebacker of the Jacksonville Jaguars. How about you?
I'm gonna break the rules. I'm going to the entire Packers defense. 4 sacks and an interception on Jared Goff. Only
Yeah,
surrendered 46 rushing yards. Leading receiver for Detroit has 79 yards. Um, Great game for the Packers defense. We talk about Micah Parsons, the addition. He made a lot of news heading into that game of how he was going to improve that defense, but it was other guys early on, and then he got going as time went on. And of course, he got that big sack there. I believe it was in the 4th quarter. So the
yeah.
entire Packers defense against the Lions, a very good Lions offense that they had a challenge of playing on Sunday.
That's a very good
Special,
point. They stopped the run. Sorry to cut you off. They
oh,
stopped
you're
the
fine.
run. Gibbs, David Montgomery didn't do
Yep.
anything. And I want to say it was Micah Parsons who was partly responsible for the interception that Jared Goff threw too. I think he was the one who put the pressure on Jared Goff that caused that interception. So yeah, man. God damn, we got paid on Thursday. Lord have mercy.
All right. Special teams player of the week. What are your thoughts on this one?
I kind of have a feeling we might be going the same direction. We'll see. I got to give it to the Steelers kicker, uh, Chris Boswell. 60-yard field goal was perfect for throughout the day. 2 field goals, 2 for 2, and he's 4 for 4 in his extra points after touchdown. But that 60-yard field goal, Mike Tomlin gave him a shout out. Said he's cold blooded, hearts beat slow. So yeah, Chris Boswell, my special teamer of the week. Who you got?
Agreed 100%. Just going to give an honorable mention to the goalpost itself. Several kicks hit the bars. Made me think of Ed when he used to say doink all the time, as I mentioned earlier in the show. So the and that was the special teams player for many teams that it gave an advantage, on the other side of the field, not the ones kickers on their team. All right, Bonehead play or call of the week. What you got on this one?
I'm sticking with who I said. I'm sticking with Jalen Carter, spitting on Dak Prescott, getting his dumbass ejected before the game even began. Basically, he got suspended so early that they basically said, "Okay, since the game ain't start, we'll just count that as a suspension. Since you got ejected and missed the entire game." So Jalen Carter got my bonehead move of the week, and definitely deserved that fine. I think they should have suspended his ass another game too. But yeah, Jalen Carter is my bonehead move of the week. Who will you got, sir?
Okay, I'm gonna stick with the Steelers Jets as we were just talking about their kicker. Fourth quarter, the Jets were up by 2. Caleb Johnson he got the handoff. Jets defense were all over this one. They was playing fast defense. That Aaron Glenn defense looking like a loss of 2. But wait, the Jets defenders they sidelined Johnson. Quentin Williams he got called for unnecessary roughness penalty because he wanted to push Johnson out of bounds, way out of bounds. 3 defenders basically had a fence up to him. In my opinion, there was absolutely no reason why he should have put his hands on Caleb Johnson. But, it is a fast game. Um, Gave them a free 15 yards, which eventually led to a touchdown, which eventually led to a win for the Steelers there at MetLife.
Yeah, definitely bonehead one right there. Let's talk a little bit about these other games that happened around the league in Week 1. Of course, Thursday night football, Eagles topped the Cowboys 24-20. Chargers snapped a 7-game losing streak, as Brandon mentioned earlier. Happy to see the Chiefs lose. They lost Friday night to the Chargers. Final score 27-21. Bengals survived, got the win in Week 1 over the Browns 17-16. It was crazy. We were talking about that game and how Joe Burrow got sacked like back-to-back plays. Salute to the Browns kicker. I know the Bengals are happy with him. I don't know if he has a job. I think I saw some tweets about cutting him before he even got in the locker room because they definitely pissed with him. I think this is a shock to everyone. Colts uh, stomping out the Dolphins 33-8. I don't think anyone expected the game to go like that. I'm sure people picked the Colts to win, but I don't think they expected them to dominate like that, 33-8. Cardinals held off the Saints 20-13. It was getting kind of funny, looking kind of funny to light for a second there. I thought the Saints would have, came back and tied that game up, but they didn't. Cardinals held on. Jaguars crushed the Panthers 26-10. Weather delay in that game about an hour and then some change. And the Jaguars came out of that and still ready to play. The Panthers didn't look too good. Bryce Young, he looked like the old Bryce Young of not looking too good where he got bent. So hopefully they can improve on that. Like we talked a little bit about, Packers overwhelmed the Lions 27-13. Dominant performance by the defense. Lions scored that basically, garbage time touchdown at the end. Made it closer than what it actually was. They absolutely dominated the Lions. That offense of the Lions definitely had some things to work out. The running game was basically non-existent, and Jared Goff did not play good at all. 49ers outlasted the Seahawks 17-13. 49ers might have won a battle. They could have lost a war. George Kittle's out. He's on IR now, the hamstring injury. Jawan Jennings, he's banged up. Brock Purdy, he's questionable. I think he has a shoulder injury. So we'll see how they look going forward. Rams beat the Titans. Rams beat the Texans 14-9. Pretty defensive game. Still a lot of issues with that Texans offensive line. Hopefully CJ Stroud survives. He doesn't turn into David Carr out there. If everybody remembers how his career ended up. Broncos held off the Titans 20-12. Even though Cam Ward lost his game, I think he played well considering who he went up against. And in my opinion, a top defense in the Broncos. I think he played well. He had receivers out there, their hands turned into bricks. Calvin Ridley, he had a couple of drops in the fourth quarter, definitely killed them. And then the Monday Night Football game, everyone. Minnesota storms back in the fourth quarter to beat the Bears 27-24. We were texting a little about this game in the first half. J.J. McCarthy didn't look too good, but the second half came out. J.J. McCarthy outplayed Caleb Williams, and the Minnesota Vikings as a team outplayed the Bears, and they got outcoached. The Bears did. They were talking about it on the Manning cast, and they were talking about it, sports news after the game, how the Bears and them should have kicking the ball out of bounds, or they gave them a little bit more time on the clock, but they kicked it inbounds and allowed a lot more time to run off the clock, where they basically had only 15 seconds left when they got the ball back. So yeah, definitely not a good look for the Bears. And Caleb Williams looked like the same old Bears. Brandon, any of these games surprise you, or which one of these games you looked at the most?
Sure, very good week one. Minnesota, Chicago, tail two halves for JJ McCarthy, man. He was looking like a rookie out there in the first half. I went to sleep probably a little bit in the second quarter because I wasn't feeling good. Woke up the next morning, you would text me, said, be surprised when the Vikings won this game and came back. So yeah, good second half there for JJ McCarthy and the Vikings to improve to 1-0 in their division. That Broncos offense didn't look good, particularly Bo Nix. I think he threw 2 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say a pick six, or did it get called back? Something like that. But either way, not a good look there for a guy who spent some time with Drew Brees in the offseason. So expectations were high for Bo Nix heading into year two. 49ers and Seahawks, man. Nick Bosa closed that game out. He pushed, I think the right tackle is Charles Cross, if I'm not mistaken. Whoever it is, he pushed him back. Sam Darnold, the right tackle's body, his back forced the fumble out, and they recovered, and Seattle won the game because it looked like they was going to go downfield and score.
Yes,
Panthers,
Sam.
man. Yeah, I'm sorry. Same old stuff with the Panthers, man. Just absolutely no type of offense. The defense looked bad. Yeah, the Dolphins, man. Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill may be on the trade block. Tua, his seat may be hot, man. What a disappointment there in Indianapolis. I know emotions were high because they kind of honored Jim Irsay before the game, but Miami's better than that, in my opinion. I don't think
No.
Indianapolis is that good, and they really had their number. Bengals got the win.
Shout out to the Bengals defense. Maybe you're
Yeah,
right. Maybe.
the Bengals defense. I guess they heard everybody talking this offseason and said we're gonna do a little something. Uh, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins were really held in check. I think they had like 66 yards or 60 some yards combined. Joe Burrow was held in check as well. So shout out to the Browns defense, even though they lost. Hopefully they turn it backwards before week two when they come to Baltimore, the Browns, and we can beat them pretty good. And then of course I got to end it with the Chargers, man. It's no better feeling than watching the Chiefs lose, man. No better feeling, man. They were Chargers had control of this game from the first snap, in my opinion, and they just kept it, kept that momentum going. Every time the Chargers would, every time the Chiefs would make a play, the Chargers would come back and score again. So good way to keep the pedal to the metal there for the Chargers, snapping that losing streak, making some noise in their division. Um, I think some people had them a little high, and then they lost their left tackle, and then other people dropped them back down. But they started off the season with a win, and they started off the season against the bully. So good for them. Good for the Chargers.
Yeah, Justin Herbert looked like what people thought he was going to be, especially that game-winning run he had at the end. Definitely think that loss of Xavier Worthy had a huge impact on the Chiefs' offense. I believe they said he's like week to week, so we'll see if he'll miss any time. We'll probably have to play with a brace when he does come back, but we'll see how they look without him going forward. But yeah, that's definitely that loss stung. Wonder how Travis Kelsey feels about that too. But yeah, man, great week of football.
If the Chiefs fall on Sunday to the Eagles, don't be surprised they try to make a play for Tyreek Hill.
I
It
can
would
see
make
that.
sense. Yeah, they need a receiver because Rice is out for 6 weeks. You don't know how long Worthy's going to be out. They they need some spark right now on the offensive side of the ball. All right, everyone. Week one is in the books. Big game Thursday night at historic Lambeau Field. Commanders at Packers. Will Ed call out of work Friday because of stress? We'll see. In the meantime, please hit the subscribe button. On your screen. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter at Podcast B&E, and on IG at B&E Podcast. We'll be back Friday previewing several Week 2 matchups, including Ravens Browns. I think, Ed, you got something?
Nope, I'm
Oh,
good.
okay. All right. Until next time, everyone. Love one another.